Let me paint a picture for you. You're playing a team that's crushed you every single time that you've played. They beat you 11-4 in game 1, and they're up 8-0-1 in game 2. You got a couple of options at that point. Option 1, you can submit to the fact that they're going to beat you yet again. Option 2, you can get pissed off and crash out. That's always one of my favorite options. Option 3, you can go ahead and win 17 straight points and get up 6-0 in the third, only to let your opponents come all the way back to 9-9 before finishing the match 11-9 in the third. Congratulations! If you selected option number 3, your name is Andre Daescu or Christian Alshon. This match had so many unbelievable momentum swings, and I'm going to show you how CJ and JW got their huge lead, how they blew their huge lead, and how they hung on for dear life at the end of the third game. I'm Zane Navratil. I'm a pro pickleball player. I've played with these guys and I've played against these guys, and I'm going to break down this match in a way that's going to help you get better at pickleball. So prior to this match, CJ and JW were Andre and Christian's kryptonite. In San Clemente in June, they crushed him 3-5. In the semifinals at Worlds, the biggest tournament of the year, JW and CJ dismantled them 2-4, and Worlds was played just 2 weeks before this matchup in Lakeland, Florida. But as you guys know, this match is going to be a lot different than those last two. This video is sponsored by Paddle Reset. Normal paddle erasers can rub debris into your paddle face and smooth out the grit and texture. You don't want that. You need that texture to get spin. So yeah, let me show you how it works. You just spray a couple of sprays on here. You grab whatever you have laying around. I've got a t-shirt. Cleans your paddle face good as new. This did happen to be a brand new paddle, but you guys get the idea. You just spray it on there, you rub it down with something or another, and all of the gunk and crap that is on your paddle is gone. It's a great way to clean off your paddle without cleaning off your surface texture, so use the link down below and code ZANE20 to save 20% off of your order of Paddle Reset. Check it out. Christian to serve, and
let's play pickleball.
Christian floats a high third, and JW makes him pay right away. Coming in behind a floating shot like that is, let's just say...
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
CJ rips a serve that Christian mishits into the net, and Adam Stone says it best.
And way more on that serve. The last few months, CJ Klinger has really ticked up the MPHs on his serve. Used to be a laid in there guy, and he is not anymore.
Right on cue, he does it again and sets himself up nicely for the poach and recovery.
He's everywhere.
At 2:02, we have our first kitchen rally of the match, and Andre takes a speed up cross court at JW. They get a bit fortunate that JW misses this put away. At 1-2-2, I want to show you something that Christian does throughout this match and throughout so many matches. They get to the kitchen and neutralize the point. He takes this backhand off the bounce from the middle and takes it back behind JW. For every single person watching this video, I would say this is a no-no. It's great to stick your paddle in and try and take this ball out of the air, but once you realize that you can't, you should let your left side player come take over and take a forehand. Once it's hit the ground, the ball's unattackable, and your left side player is going to have a better play on the ball. So good piece of advice for right side players, be aggressive, stick your paddle in there out of the air, but if you can't take it out of the air, even if your paddle is there, pull it back. Your left side guy is going to come take that. This is one of just many things that pros do that amateurs shouldn't. We use our wrists, we speed the ball up cross court. We know when and how to break the rules because the rules for us are a little bit different. They're different at every single skill level. Picking right back up at this point, look at this combo from CJ and JW. Andre slides over to cover the middle like he should, and JW goes inside out to set up the Ernie for the long lefty. A couple of points later, Andre tries this speed up at CJ that gets absolutely destroyed. The next point reveals just why Christian is taking those middle balls. He's looking to be very offensive out of the air, and he's putting positional pressure on CJ by looking for those backhands. CJ clocks the counter, and I think they're pretty fortunate to have won this exchange. CJ and JW are targeting Christian with the returns, and he's not able to get them to the kitchen on either of their attempts.
Oh, come on.
So the ball goes back. Christian pulls the middle backhand again, and they win the hands battle. Right side players, be aggressive with your backhand here. Traditional knowledge says just to sort of dink that ball, but don't go all the way over to the middle to take it. But if it's in your zone, you can go attack it. There's a reason why Christian and Gabe are two of the best right side righties in the game. They have offense from the forehand out wide, and then when their opponent tries to find their inside foot, they also have offense from that backhand there. Right on cue, we have another attack from the same position. This is 3 already, and he is far from done. So maybe you guys can count just how many speed ups Christian had. I'll try and play them all. The boys reset and clean up with this counter. It feels like this match is pretty even, but the score says 4-1. And then a successful J-Dub attack puts us at 5-1, where we get our first long dink rally of the match. Take a look at a couple of things. Christian is taking those middle balls. Look at where Andre is when Christian takes those middle balls, and where 90% of those shots are targeted. JW finishes the point with a nice off-the-bounce speed up, but look again. Andre actually has to move out of Christian's way a couple of times to let him hit just passive dinks with his backhand. Don't do that, right side players, unless your name is Christian Alshon. We've got a timeout from Christian and Andre that immediately pays off with a missed third. I would love it if somebody started collecting stats on how frequently timeouts work. To me, it seems like they work like at least 2/3 of the time. The next point is even crazier example of Christian stepping in front of Andre, but the big boys get fortunate with a net clip setting up an ATP. A missed Ernie from CJ puts us up 3-6 with our first crazy point of the match incoming.
I'm just out of the strike zone.
JW off the bounce. Who is this guy?
Oh, J-Dub had a chance to put the ball away.
Good digs. Okay, they reset the point. I'm surprised JW didn't flick that. Christian takes the backhand again. Oh boy, Julie's not going to like that one. And as you guys know, CJ and J-Dub turn things on from here, and it starts with a failed approach from Christian, who hits yet another drive through the middle to JW's forehand. Dre misses an uncharacteristic dink. JW clips the net on a drive. Christian dismissed by JW.
Cannot put the ball there.
CJ gets the rocket back from Andre, and J-Dub finishes with an Ernie. Since when does JW speed off the bounce, and since when does he Ernie? Did I, miss something here? Andre and Christian can't believe it either. Look at them shrug at one another. Game point for JW and CJ, and we have some nasty resets to neutralize this point.
Unbelievable.
Another opportunity on the flick from JW, and a very off-speed attack somehow works from Christian. They trade a couple of side outs before CJ and JW close it with a nasty flick and finish.
And Adam.
Take a look at that flick again. Andre goes cross court, and when he's out of position, he leaves it up ever so slightly. Most people only see the open court and they try to find the space, but Andre is moving really quickly since he's so out of position. CJ anticipates this and goes back behind Andre. So what CJ did here was not going to the open space, but going to the opportunity. Andre would have most likely shut down the down the line attack, so when CJ picked a weak spot on the body instead, they're rewarded with a game one that didn't feel super lopsided despite the 11-4 scoreline. Guys, if you're liking this video, you're going to love the transition zone. There's endless information on the internet, but my online academy ensures that you're getting the right advice to your exact skill level. Check it out at tzpickleball.com, and if you don't love it, you don't pay, plain and simple. So, if you were watching this match and not really paying attention, it would look like a pretty close match, and the scoreline was a little bit deceiving. There were a good chunk of side outs, but the difference here was that J-Dub and CJ were able to get to the line effectively most of the time, whereas Andre and Christian were iffy. Once they were at the line, the points were pretty even, other than Christian's speed-ups not working particularly well in Game 1. Now, watch the beatdown that is the first half of Game 2. Flick Wizard finally attacks a backhand, and Christian is caught way off guard. I can't believe J-Dub wasn't Flick Wizarding more. Christian tries to pull through the middle with that backhand, which is a decent play against two right-handed players, but CJ's forehand is sitting in the middle and it gets rejected.
Seeing the ball well.
Christian probably said to himself, damn it, I'm going to hit my backhand flick whether it works or not. Christian Alshon, probably. and he does get the off-speed attack to work on JW.
Nice job.
Even though they're down a bit, the variety from that position from Christian is pretty impressive. He's going high and slow on some, down at the feet on others, and then just straight up rockets. Good advice here from Christian. Mixing up your speeds is just as important as mixing up your spots. People worry about hitting right shoulder or making them reach for backhands or right hip, but you can also throw your opponent way off by varying the speeds. Send some rockets at them that might go out, then throw them something down towards their feet. Mixing up the speeds is just as important, if not more even, than mixing up the spots in today's pickleball. But we've got a same guy situation on the very next point. Watch JW this point. Dude is adding off-the-bounce speed-ups to his game as well, and nobody is expecting it. Yet another speed-up from Christian's backhand wing results in a point for CJ and JW. Spoiler, if I haven't spoiled it already, Christian can't stop and won't stop. You know JW is feeling good when he's stepping around to hit forehands.
I mean, why?
Again, since when? Take a look at the options from this position. JW's gone behind Andre previously, so he can't shift towards the middle quite as much to cover. That means Christian is available to attack, and JW executes the triangle attack theory to perfection. Take a look at this.
I mean,
we have a missed return and a kick into the net from Christian. Remember back to the intro of this video, and it looks like Christian's about to choose option number 2. Next point, JW pulls out all the tricks, another run around, and he goes behind Andre. Twoies, since when? Inside out with a little zest even, and then a speed up winner. Listen to Dave.
Adam, who is this guy on the left impersonating J.W. Johnson because he loves to speed it up off the bounce?
Dre says F it and they get the ball back. Take a look at CJ again, though. This didn't do anything. I just thought it was funny. The boys catch Andre in transition twice to get the ball back, and we have another side out where Dre and Christian just can't get to the net. We've got another ambitious pull from Christian to put them up 7-0, and option 2 is looking even more enticing. Christian raises the paddle up, and I think we're going to get a paddle slam, but something talks him out of it. Next point, Christian hits one of the nastiest off speeds of this entire match. Watch JW again here. He loads up thinking it's a backhand up high coming, but then he has to completely change it for a ball down at his feet. Can't get it. A couple of unsuccessful speed ups from Andre, and CJ and JW have the ball back at 7:01. Maybe this is a legit strategy at this point. Maybe it's just a bit of frustration. Andre mixes up his speed in a different way by going full speed right at CJ, and it works. Christian tries the off speed again. Doesn't work this time. Guys, off speed is only off speed if you also mix it up and hit full speed sometimes. Slow and low was working, and full speed was working, but that flick up high, table it. They trade side outs a couple of times, and we end up with CJ and JW serving 8:01. Christian changes up his spot and ends up going behind CJ, who almost hits the highlight of the tournament with the behind the back. He's been mixing up his speeds towards JW and threw in a couple of attacks through the middle, but this was actually his first time that he went behind CJ and kept him honest. If CJ makes this ball, match is over, and none of us are watching this video, but he clips the tape instead, and it's 8:02. Christian sets up an attack with this off speed, and then he's able to find the middle. CJ was out of position for this counter for the very first time since he was waiting in the center of his box rather than crashing over towards the middle. That one attack behind CJ changes CJ's positioning for the rest of this match, and they're going to win this point and get on the board. Christian and Andre execute the classic third shot pop-up to 19th shot drop combo here, and they end up taking the kitchen to win the point. Unbelievable defense. The refs actually missed a football call on CJ here, but it doesn't matter since he misses the counter attack long. A step slow to that middle once again. Dre full sends at JW again, and he's lucky he didn't eat that one. He gets the paddle on the ball just in time to make sure that he doesn't get body bagged, but he's not going to be so lucky in just a few seconds. We've got Christian hitting everything off speed, and now Andre hitting everything full speed. Tag, JW is it, and we've got a timeout. Back from the timeout, and a short return from CJ allows Christian to rip a forehand from inside the court. There are not too many people on the list of don't give them a short return ahead of Christian Alshon. J-Dub and CJ are able to neutralize the drive and crash. And CJ sets things up well for JW to put away, and this was a huge miss. It even happens at the pro level, so don't feel so bad that you miss every single one of your putaways. J-Dub misses every once in a while, but you miss every one. Okay, maybe you should feel bad, but the pros do it too. There's nothing more frustrating than missing into the net on that putaway. If anything, miss long, but we're guilty as well. CJ and J-Dub are finally able to slow the momentum down a little bit with this nice hands battle. But Andre gets away with this speed up somehow or another. I think he upped the pace ever so slightly, and J-Dub wasn't able to get on top of it and sends it long, but he's clobbering this ball. When you mix up your spots and your speeds, you'll notice that you are going to get some more of those weird misses like this. A missed third, an attackable third, and side out right back to the big boys. All of a sudden, the team that has gotten to the kitchen every single time is now struggling to get to the kitchen, and the team that's been struggling to get to the kitchen is getting in every time. We flip-flopped.
7-8-1.
Nice drop from Andre. Good get from Christian. Another nice off-speed from Christian. Oh my God, CJ wears that one. Another bag from Andre, and this is just absolutely as good as they come. Center mass, and CJ just stands there and takes it. We are tied up. The off-speed down towards J-Dub's foot is the spot that's working best for Christian, and what a lot of people do is they just keep going to the best spot. It's not a bad idea, but once your opponent shuts that spot down, that's when you need to mix things up a little bit more. Christian hasn't been very successful in any other spots but down towards JW's left foot, but you could argue that the other spots are opening up JW's left foot. JW is actually backing up off of the line to sort of start to defend against that high off speed. So it does open up that low ball from Christian. Next point, we have another great 17th shot drop from Christian to neutralize the point, and Andre successfully speeds up at CJ. Once again, this wasn't an incredible speed up, but the differences in pace and spot are now starting to pay off for them, and they finally have a lead in game 2. 2 points later, we have another full bag on CJ, who is crashing hard towards the middle. All the variety is paying dividends all at once here. Remember how game 1 ended? We have an almost identical ending here with J-Dub stepping over to hit a forehand and Christian seeing that J-Dub has to protect the line. He goes right behind him, and we are going to game 3. So what changed? Well, Andre and Christian were able to get to the kitchen more consistently, and CJ and JW struggled. They benefited from a couple of crazy points where they were able to get 17th and 19th shots drops in, but they're a little bit more patient getting into the kitchen and not kamikazeing through that transition zord. At any level, it's super difficult to score points consistently if you can't get to the kitchen consistently. So drill the hell out of those 3rd shot drops, 5th shot drops, and 19th shot drops. Next, Christian and Andre kept looking for spots that would work, and when your opponents have more spots that they need to cover, their hands are going to be a little bit less effective. Christian and Andre continued mixing up their spots and their speeds, and all of a sudden, shots that weren't working before started giving CJ and J-Dub a little bit more trouble. Time for game 3. First point, Dre gets them to the kitchen, and J-Dub misses an off-the-bounce speed up. Here, I think that Christian was trying to go towards JW's feet in the spot that's worked several times, but it's a really difficult shot to execute, and he pops it up just a little bit for an easy counter. Adam Stone concurs.
The off-speeds that have ended up low have worked out. The off-speeds that are around the waist have been destroyed by J.W. Johnson.
Next point, Flick Wizard flicks, and Andre shuts it down. He even gives him a little bit of a talking to. I've been wondering why JW really hasn't been flicking so much, and maybe that's it. I would think that his flick would work far better towards Christian than Andre, but we won't really have the opportunity to find out. Another 17th shot drop, and another interesting spot from Christian that pays off. Yeah! Christian has hardly hit any normal speed ups this entire match. Take a look at CJ's reaction. He's saying that he's so far ahead of the ball because it's so slow. Mix things up and you are going to get some random misses. Next point, we've got yet another full bag on CJ. You've got Christian hitting 5-mile-per-hour speed ups and Andre hitting them 100 miles per hour on back-to-back points. Guys, we get it. CJ is it. Tag, he's it. We get it. All right? Understandably so. I think CJ is a little bit shook and he's on his back foot when the next ball comes from Christian. We have a little bit of a flinch and weight backwards as a result of all of these bags. To be honest, who wouldn't flinch when you have these faces coming at you? A pop-up from CJ and Andre is able to go right through the middle on the speed up. Why? Well, take a look at JW. He's covering his backhand because Andre has gone right at him a couple of times, and we've got a timeout from CJ and JW trying to put an end to the 16 straight rallies that Dre and Christian have won. All right, this point is so wild that we're going to break it down shot by shot. Afterwards, we'll play the point in its entirety. Christian hits a short slice out wide. Tongue twister. He started doing this so that CJ and JW couldn't quite hit as hard of returns, and it was getting them a little bit easier thirds. But he floats the third, and JW is able to attack. Andre does a great job of covering the easiest shot for JW, which is through the middle. Look, JW actually has so much open court to hit into out wide, but if he does go for this angle, he can't hit it quite as hard. Take away the place where your opponents can hit the ball hard and leave the place where they have to take pace off open. Even though he was in position, he still pops the ball up, but they have a little bit of time to get themselves back into position. Christian makes a nasty dig here, but they keep backing up to give themselves a little bit more time to recover. CJ does a great job of finding a cross-court angle here. When your opponents are back like that, it's so hard to angle the ball away from him, and Andre has to full stretch just to get this ball up. In order to give himself a little bit more time to recover, he throws up a lob. Christian knows that Andre will be recovered in time, so he doesn't need to cover that middle ball. He doesn't rush to cover the middle. He holds his ground right in the middle of his box, which allows him to actually cover this crazy angle from JW. And he gets it back with an awkward half-grown stroke, half overhead that he resets perfectly back into the kitchen. When JW has to take this ball off the bounce, all of their advantage is completely relinquished. But CJ isn't completely ready to let go of that advantage. Just like we saw at the end of Game 1 and end of Game 2, Andre takes the ball back behind him, and at the point of contact, the line is pretty wide open. CJ speeds the backhand up hard down the line, and Andre is able to get it only on the full stretch. I think if CJ actually went slightly off speed down the line here, Andre might not have been able to get that ball. It's like kicking a penalty kick. If you make the goalie reach out and down, it's more difficult than making the goalie reach out at their chest height. So getting that ball down could have maybe ended that point, but he speeds it up out wide, and when Andre's at full stretch, he can't take the ball all the way cross court. So CJ knows that the ball is coming back right up the line, and he waits on his backhand. I think everybody's a little bit surprised that the ball went straight back to Andre's paddle, and he gets the ball back without much on it. J-Dub comes over to cover the middle, and once again, when your body is moving one direction, the ball is most likely to follow in that direction. In this case, the natural shot is back towards Andre. It would be very, very unlikely for J-Dub to be able to hit this ball cross-court back at Christian while his body is moving over towards the right. He doesn't hit it hard, though, and now Andre turns the point around and gets the ball down below the net on J-Dub. From here, J-Dub's just trying to keep the point alive for the most part. He gets caught almost slicing across the ball, and it goes back through the middle, but a little bit too low for Andre to do much with. J-Dub is finally able to get the opportunity to pull the ball back towards Christian, who's been patiently waiting his turn this entire firefight. Christian somehow changes directions here and goes towards CJ. It's super hard to swing one direction and have the ball move with enough pace to hurt your opponent the other way. Christian's paddle is swinging from his left to his right, but he's trying to hit the ball the other direction, so he doesn't get enough to get the ball past CJ. Also, when you redirect that ball cross-court in front of your partner, the reason why you're told not to attack cross-court is because look at where Andre is when CJ makes contact with this ball. He's still in the middle of his court from the last shot, so he doesn't have enough time to recover to the center of his box, and CJ is able to get that ball back behind him to finish an epic point. Now let's watch it in regular motion, and I will shut up.
What?
Christian gets the benefit of a couple of fortunate counters. This one, where he mishits the ball just enough to stay in. And this one, where he has a full-body flail that should have been destroyed, but there was a little hesitation and a look between J-Dub and CJ. 17 straight points. All right, now what adjustment are CJ and JW going to make here? Well, they start correctly reading Christian's speed up and tagging him back. Nobody would say that Christian did not deserve this one. They also start backing up ever so slightly when Christian's speeding the ball up. Take a look at their positioning right before he hits this one. When your opponent is attacking from below the level of the net, you don't need to worry about exposing your feet quite as much. So they give themselves a little bit more time to react by backing off the line, and they're able to win the hands battle as a result.
Not long.
Nasty drop from J-Dub ends the 17-point run, and this is the start of getting to the kitchen pretty much every single time for the rest of the match for J-Dub and CJ. Another great drop gives CJ the opportunity to poach.
This is a team that's won a major.
Okay.
They get to the net on all 5 of their service points, and they're able to score on 3 of them, but the run ends when CJ can't put away this ball, and it's a pretty big momentum killer. Next side out, Christian and Andre aren't able to get themselves up to the kitchen at all, and the ball goes back. On defense, we have probably the nastiest off-speed of the day from Christian. Maybe that one from game 1 is a little bit nastier. J-Dub's backing up to give himself a little bit more time, as I recommended, and Christian is able to find his feet with the off-speed. Honestly, if your opponent can hit this, just say too good, because there's like 3 people in the world that can hit this shot effectively. When your opponent's speeding up from down below the level of the net, giving yourself a step back to give yourself more time isn't a bad idea. If they can hit that, just say too good. Somebody in the crowd even says in the middle of the point, filthy. Now, just watch this piece of art. This ATP does not look like it was there whatsoever, and Christian doesn't even cover it. Great shot from JW, and he let it drop almost all the way to touching that ground. As you guys know, the lower you let that ball drop on an ATP, the farther out wide it actually travels. Only one more point, but CJ and JW got to the kitchen each time once again. A missed Ernie from JW let them off the hook as they were struggling to get in, and another off-speed has JW way out ahead of this counterattack. Christian is feeling it on this next point, but again, this match is far from over. Another speed up from Christian, but this time JW is all over it.
And JW.
It feels like Christian is speeding up just about every other point. Every point seems to be ending with the Christian speed up. Fortunate speed up from CJ here and a missed dink from Andre, and we're clawing back to 6-9-1. Remember this pattern from before. CJ went behind Andre last time, but this time he does sneak it down the line while Dre is out of position, and we've got a timeout. Of course, timeouts always immediately pay off, but J-Dub has a nice combo on the next point after that to bring it back within 1, and we get this point to tie it up.
He's everywhere.
CJ is pumping up the crowd, and we have a CJ chant. Guys, if you want to chant CJ at a tournament next year at a PPA, check out my discount link for PPA tickets and registration down below. Save yourself some money. CJ, 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 CJ. That could be you. Anyway, 9-9, but Christian is sticking with the game plan, and it pays off with a net clipper from J-Dub. Unfortunately, this match deserved a way better ending than this, but of course, Andre and Christian are going to take it. In the post-match interview, Ireland had the same question I did. How? And Christian answered it perfectly.
A little bit of luck, a lot of fight.
So, a few things happened. First, this match and these runs were decided by who could consistently get to the kitchen. Through the first game and a half, when J-Dub and CJ were dominant, Andre and Christian struggled. Through the next game and a half, when Christian and Andre were dominant, CJ and JW struggled. And at the end of game 3, CJ and JW were clawing back by arriving at the kitchen every single time, but it was just a little bit too little, too late. Next, Andre and Christian had a game plan, and they were going to stick to it. In their first couple of matchups, Andre and Christian were far too passive in the dink rallies, and I think that Christian would acknowledge that his skill set is based around being dynamic, unpredictable, and athletic. Of the 4 players, he's definitely the weakest dinker. So, what did he do? He didn't dink. At every opportunity, he attacked. Some worked and many didn't, but he didn't overreact when his speed-ups didn't work. You might think to yourself, well, if something isn't working, shouldn't you change it? That's where you need to understand 2 ideas. First, we have relative odds. If these 4 guys were playing dinking-only rallies without speed-ups, I think that J-Dub and CJ win like 2/3 of the point because they're one of the most consistent dinking teams in the world. Rather than playing a style that's going to lose 2/3 of the point, Christian is happy to play a style that's more 50-50 by speeding up everything he can. And when you're flipping a coin, you're going to have some runs where you get tails a bunch of times in a row, like he did through games 1 and 2. And then you're going to have some runs where you get heads a bunch of times in a row, like he did in games 2 and 3. The odds didn't change, but the outcome did. Next, most teams aren't even 50-50 against CJ and JW when they speed the ball up. CJ and JW are the best counterattacking team in pickleball. So how is Christian even able to go 50-50 against them? Well, he put on a masterclass of mixing up pace and placement. And once Andre got involved in that same game, J-Dub and CJ looked out of sorts. Finally, if Christian could continue attacking his backhand out of the air while allowing Andre to take the ball once the ball had bounced, I think that would be the best combo for him. It allows Christian to be offensive out of the air, but it also allows Andre to continue to dictate with his forehand once the ball is bounced. If Christian could pair the aggression with the ability to also pull off the backhand, I think that would be even more successful for the 2 of them. Anyway, that's all for this match. If you made it this far, please give me some feedback. This was the longest match analysis we've done so far, so what did you like? What did you dislike? Is there anything you would like to see or anything you would like me to cut out? This video took me a ton of time to make, so please consider supporting the channel by checking out the links down below, as well as subscribing for more.